Hello and welcome to Prestige Worldwide. Today we have 5 Spinnaker wrecks, including the one on my wrist, for review. Each one of these has its own special place in my collection. There are 2 different generations and a half generation involved in these. These 2 are Generation 1 Spinnaker wrecks, and then this one and this one are Gen 2. This one is Generation 1.5. Sort of complicated. I will sort of explain during the video. So the Spinnaker wreck is a line of watches that was started a few years back. I don't know the exact date, maybe sometime 2019-ish, somewhere around then. And this one, for example, is a Gen 1 Spinnaker wreck. These are all automatic watches. They all have Seiko movements, NH35 Seiko movements. They have, some of them have mineral crystal on the glass. Some of them have sapphire glass. So the newest generation of Spinnaker wrecks are these 2. So one's on my wrist. I've been wearing it every day for like the last week or so, and I just love this watch. I've already obviously loved the Spinnaker wreck. I think the first one I bought was this one, this blue one. And then I bought this black one. This black one's awesome. This is a Gen 1 wreck. And then they sort of have like a Gen 1.5 with this guy here. So you can see how the 9 and the 6 are numerical. And then the rest of them are hash marks. Let's go ahead and get this thing over to 1010 like it should be, right? It should be 1010 on these watch reviews. So these are made to look like they've been in a shipwreck under the ocean for 200 years until James Cameron goes down in his little submarine, the kind of submarine that actually works, and he like digs up these watches out of the ship, the Viking ship or whatever, and brings them to the surface. And anywho, so that's where the name Spinnaker wreck comes from, is that it's supposed to be like from a shipwreck. So this one is my favorite, but it's hard to actually pick a favorite out of these 5 watches. And they all are Spinnaker wrecks. Let's get a close-up view of each one of them. Let's start over here. So this one is a Gen 1, and I really like the bezel, how it has the blue 15-minute timer on here. It's just unique. It's cool. The yellow seconds hand, there's no reason that it's yellow. Like why is it yellow? But it just works. The blue and then the yellow accent, it just works. This one has a mineral crystal for the glass, and same with the Gen 1s, the other Gen 1s. They all have mineral crystal. They are all 43. They are all 43 millimeters in diameter. Well, advertised, okay. Well, let's see. They're advertised at 43, but it kind of seems like maybe they're a little bigger. I'm getting 43.7 on the Gen 1s, and this is a Gen 1.5. Let's see what this one is. 43.7. So all 3 of these Gen 1s are 43.7 millimeters. So as I said, this one I've been wearing for the last week and a half. The person I bought it used on eBay. I bought this for $100 on eBay. Hell of a deal. Guy I bought it from had previously added wear to the bezel. So the bezel is not supposed to look like this. Apparently he has some sort of etching tool or something, and was able to go around, and it doesn't look perfect, but I really like it. Like it's unique. No one else has a watch exactly like this, with a Spinnaker wreck with extra wear on the bezel. It looks cool. I think he sold it for a discount because it's been modified, you know. I think it's been tastefully modified. This type of watch, it just makes sense to add some wear to the bezel, because otherwise some of these bezels look a little too perfect. Like this bezel, for example. It looks real shiny and brand new. And then the watch face, the watch dial, has these like fake scratches on it, which is cool in its own way. Anyways, let's move from right to left here. Let me finish up on this one. So I really like the band. I'm not much for leather bands these days because I like wearing my watches, you know, when I'm hiking, when I'm in the shower, when I'm mowing the lawn, weed eating, and I like to be able to just wash, you know, real good, like wash my hands. Like if I'm making hamburgers or something, and I'm making the hamburger patties, and I want to wash my hands real good, and you know, you got to clean. Anyways, it's less utilitarian with the leather. I do like the feel of leather. I used to wear leather straps all the time on my watches, but this one is the OEM. This is the OEM strap. So you can see it says Spinnaker on the clasp. And the clasp does have some wear, you know, that's factory wear, to make it look like it's been in a shipwreck. So I just really like this color pattern, this color scheme here. Just the blue and the black and the hint of yellow. Let's go and set this thing to 1010. Like all the cool kids are doing. All the cool watch reviewers are setting their watches to 1010 before the review. I'm just not that cool yet. Take my Icon microfiber cloth here. So they shine up real well. The only thing I don't like about it is that it's mineral crystal. It's not sapphire, but it just looks so cool. I'm willing to forgive that. I like everything about the watch. And I wish it had like a Sellita SW200 Swiss movement, a high beat Swiss, or maybe a 9015 Miyota movement, high beat Japanese movement that beats at 28,800 beats per hour. This as a Seiko NH35 beats at 21,600 beats per hour. And it's fine. I mean, I'm kind of over it. Like I was once a movement snob where I had to have Swiss movements in all the watches. I wanted to just wear a Swiss watch and no one cares. And it turned out I don't even care. It's an automatic watch. It runs just like any other automatic watch. You can see it has an exhibition case back. So one thing that they ditched when moving on to the Gen 2 is there's a solid case back as opposed to the exhibition case back. So you can see how the rotor spins. That's what winds the watch. There is a barrel spring in there that gets wound tighter when this thing spins, when that rotor spins. So as you're moving during the day, keeps the watch charged up. You don't even have to think about it. It just winds itself. As long as you wear it every day, you're fine. If you take it off for a full day, you're still fine. If you take it off, it's like a 40-hour power reserve. So that's about how long it lasts. All right, moving over to this Gen 2 Blue Rec. All right, so moving on to the Generation 2 Blue Rec. So this one I bought from ashford.com. Okay, let me go back. I bought this one from eBay about a year and a half ago, give or take. Got a really good deal on it. I think it was about 130 bucks, worth every penny. They don't make these anymore. It's hard to find these Gen 1 Recs. And I'm going to buy more. If I see more of these Gen 1 Recs in different colors, they've got a couple other colorways that are really awesome. The Gen 1.5 has a couple other colorways that I want. So oftentimes I'm looking on eBay and I'm specifically searching for used Spinnaker Recs because I honestly want to own all of them someday. But it's not that big of a deal. 5 is good enough for now. And they're all kind of a little bit different and unique. So this one has the 44 millimeter case. Actually, yeah, 44 millimeter case diameter. It has the sapphire crystal because this is Gen 2. Has a solid case back, no window on the back. You get 120 click unidirectional bezel. You get excellent lume. I do like the way that they've made the hands and the indexes. They made them look kind of like they have mold on them. Like if you look at that, it looks like they have mold on them. Like it's been sitting at the ocean so long that it's growing like barnacles and mold and all that stuff. Really solid bezel action. It's got the right amount of detent to where like you bump it against a doorknob or something like that, it's not gonna bump it on a table. It might click a couple times, but normally it's not gonna click on accident normally. But it moves easy enough to where it's not a burden to try to get that thing moved around. And It doesn't quite line up exactly center at 12 o'clock. It's pretty close though. It is pretty close. I'd say, okay, maybe that is pretty much center. Yep, pretty much center. These have a screw down crown with no crown guards, which is fine. This one has a 200 meter depth rating, which is the same as 660 feet. The earlier gen, let's see, what does it say? It says 100 meters, but it's probably good a little over 100. I'm not going to wear it scuba diving. I'm not going to wear this one scuba diving. I might wear one of these two. And okay, moving on. So this is the Gen 1.5. This one has a 100 meter depth rating. So it's really not per se a dive watch. In my opinion, a dive watch needs to have at least 200 meters in depth or 20 barometric pressure atmospheres that it can withstand. So 100 meters, yeah, not really a dive watch, but it does have a screw down crown. So it might actually do 100 meters. It might actually do 120 meters. Who knows? Maybe when they made these, they thought, okay, no one's going to care if it's 100 or 200. Let's not even really test it. Let's just write 100 on there because we know it's at least good for 100. I mean, who knows what their exact... It doesn't really bother me. It doesn't really... I didn't even notice. I thought it was a little bit more of a depth rating. So anyways, Gen 1.5, you get the 9 and the 6 numbers. You get hash marks for the other ones except for the 12 where you get a triangle. I kind of like that, how the 12 has a triangle. I like how it's different. I like how the date window has a little bit of chrome around it. Looks pretty cool. The bezel has some good wear on it. Like it's sort of missing some paint. I like how they do that. It still has the exhibition case back. Really like that stonewashed finish on the case. It just looks sharp. And it has pretty good lume. Now the Gen 2 has better lume, but this has pretty good lume. At night it's pretty cool. And I like how these indexes are like lime green. That lime green and the black and then this red, the red seconds hand, it just works. It just looks cool as hell. It's hard to tell on camera how this is lime green, but when you're wearing it and you can just barely tell that there's just like a little hint of like a, or no, it's more of a seafoam green. It's more of like a light seafoam green. It's very subtle, very subtle. And that's something that for some reason I really like about watches. It's just little subtle things. So this one is the one I wear every day. Really like it. I've already mentioned the wear on the bezel, kind of subtle. I like how the wear on the dial sort of came out. I like the red and then the cream. I like the cream colors on the indexes mixed with the red on the seconds hand. I like the hands are pretty simple. You've got your arrow and you've got your sort of sword hand there. It just works. Just works. You know, you get everything you want on this one because it has a sapphire crystal and it has a 200 meter depth rating. So like this is legit a dive watch and it legit has a sapphire crystal. The main thing with the sapphire crystal is when you're at a high angle, reading the time on your wrist. So watch is on your wrist and you're driving or something and the watch is like that. It's so crystal clear. Like you can see it, it's such a high angle. Now on a mineral crystal, it gets a little cloudy at a high angle. You're driving, and then at a high angle, it sort of deforms. You can't really tell what time it is. You can tell like, okay, that's some thick sort of eyeglass glass. You know, it's not your premium sapphire where at the high angle, it doesn't distort and it's nice and clear. Last one. Okay, this is my second most recent one. I got this one like a week ago. This one I got a couple months ago. And I have worn it. I did not wear it with the strap. I'm not a big fan of leather straps anymore. I kind of like how the strap looks. I think the green and the gold and the black, and then you get this light red. Not really a pink. I'm not really a pink kind of guy, but it just looks cool. It just works. It just works. It's just cool as hell. I think I had to pony up some change for this one. I had to pay up like $200 for this thing because it's brand new and they don't make them anymore. You know, it does have the mineral crystal, but it's just cool as hell. It's got sort of the bronze case, but it's not really your normal bronze. It's unique. It's just very, very cool. Okay, so I do want to put this one on the time grapher because I've been wearing it for about a week and it's like fast, like 20 seconds a day. So I do want to put it on the time grapher. So let's go ahead and get set up here with the time grapher. I need to angle it up a little bit so you guys can see. All right, so I've got the time grapher set up. It is the lift angle is 53 degrees. So I already have this set. Let's go ahead. I'll show you lift angle 53 degrees, test period 8 seconds. So NH35 movement is going to be 53 degrees. If you have a different movement, if it's a Sellita SW200 or a Miyota movement or something like that, you just want to check. It's really easy to just Google it and then set it on your time grapher. And I have a video about how to use a time grapher if you guys want to watch. All right, so here's the watch. Here's the time grapher. So yeah, it's plus 16 seconds. So it is humming along. All right, so we can see it evened out to about 21 seconds a day, which is basically the same type of difference that I could kind of observe without really timing it too accurately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the case back off the watch. I've got just a simple tool that you can get on like Amazon, or you can even get these at Harbor Freight. These watch case back remover tools. And then the case back screws off, and you just want to be extremely careful once you get it open. So you can see how it has a O-ring there. You want to make sure you don't, especially when you put it back, you want to make sure the O-ring is seated properly. So I'm going to set this off camera somewhere where it's going to be safe. And then you want to spin the watch to where you can see the adjustment, which is going to be here. So I can adjust beat rate as well as the rate of the watch. So I've got it upside down. It may or may not have the same 20-second. See, now it's saying 69 seconds. It's just, give it a minute. There we go, 20 seconds. So that's good. Upside down and right side up, the watch reads about the same rates there. So, and the beat error is pretty good, 0.2 milliseconds. I'm not really going to mess with the beat error, but if I did, that would be this little arm over here that I don't really even need to mess with. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this back a little bit. I think that's the right way. So I went too far, and now it's minus 438 seconds a day. Look, watch. Did I call it right? 72 seconds a day. Look at that line. It's got to be more than 72 seconds. 122. Okay, I just want to see where we're at on a full cycle here. Okay, so I moved this little arm just a very small amount, and we're slow 123 seconds. Okay, so now I moved it back. Well, not back, but I moved it the other direction. And we're probably down about 4 or 5, maybe 14 seconds a day. Let's see, it's hard to tell until you start getting a good reading. So 7 seconds, slow. So I'm not going to accept that. I want to get this thing a little closer. Okay, I barely moved it, and now we're going too fast again. So I'm gonna have to come back on it. These NH35s, take a little bit of doing. Sellita SW200 or ETA 2824 Swiss movements, they're way easier because you have a screw instead of this little arm. I'm gonna adjust it again. think I went too far. Yeah, I went too far. Now we're slow. Now we're fast. Okay, now we're pretty close. Look at that. That line has flattened out. I'm pretty happy with that. -1 seconds a day. Took a little bit of doing back and forth, but you stick with it. And then now instead of a 20-second a day watch, it's gonna be a 1 second a day watch, maybe 2 or 3 seconds, you know, but it's gonna be to where I don't have to set it every 3 or 4 days and notice that it's a minute off, or like after a few days notice that it's 2 minutes off, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and close it up, call it good. I'm not gonna screw around with it anymore. So the O-ring is probably the most important component of the case back to get right. I'm going to try to do this on camera. Okay, so there's the open back of the watch. And then we have the case back and the O-ring. Now make sure this is free of any debris. And oftentimes, I will put the O-ring in the watch with the case back. Use my little screwdriver to make sure it's seated properly. So I can see the little channel where it needs to go. And I will seat it with my little mini screwdriver. And now it's seated all the way around. Oop. Make sure it's seated nice and neat in there. Takes a lot of concentration to do this stuff. And then make sure it's free of debris on the case back. Give it a little blow. And then carefully, now you want to make sure you don't dislodge the O-ring when you're putting the case back on. So I'm going to just very, very careful. Okay. And then I can kind of feel that the threads are catching and the O-ring is not in the threads, so that's a good sign. I'm sort of checking around to make sure the O-ring isn't like jutting out. Sometimes you have a little piece of O-ring coming out. I don't see any of that. And then it got the right amount of turns. It feels fine. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten it up. And it's definitely not cross-threaded. You want to make sure you don't cross-thread your case backs. And then get it sort of, you know, fairly tight. I'm going to double check that. I'm not going to put a torque meter on it or anything. But it's good. It's good and tight. It's a German German method of making sure your case back is on properly. You want to make sure it's on good and tight. Good and tight. It's sort of like guten Tag, like you know, good morning, good day, but it's good and tight. So anyways, good and tight back there. Got a little case of these screwdrivers. They're kind of cool. I got them from Amazon. They were like 14 bucks. I really like these little screwdrivers. They're great for watch stuff. So now the rec that I wear on a daily basis is going to be accurate. Go and put it back on my wrist. It's got the silicone band. That way I can sweat in it. I can shower in it. It's going to just stay on the wrist. I wear it to bed. I check the time, middle of the night. The loom lasts throughout the night after your eyes adjust. The loom, you can see what time it is at, you know, 2 o'clock in the morning or 4 o'clock in the morning. So it's pretty cool. So that'll wrap up the Spinnaker Rec watch review. 5 Spinnaker Recs in 1 review. 5 for 1. I should, it's basically at a discount. You're watching this video at a discount. It's 5 watch reviews, all in one. You even got regulating a Spinnaker Rec. And anyways, I appreciate every one of you guys watching. Please subscribe, like, and comment if you have time. If you don't have time, then I just appreciate you watching the video at all. Just watching the video does help. And also, I like knowing that people are watching my videos, and it makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I want to keep making some good content, and knowing that people like it. Go ahead and tell me if you like it. Tell me if you own one of these watches. Tell me if you own Spinnaker watches, or if you own automatic watches, or if you don't like watches and you think watches are silly and it's a 1980s type thing, and like I need to move on into the new century here where we have cell phones and digital watches and stuff like that. You know, it's like, why do I need these? Well, I don't need them. They make me feel good. They make me happy. I feel happy. Sometime just middle of the day, check the time, and it's like, and I know this is an automatic watch. It's got little gears and springs, and then I've got an iPhone 15 in my pocket, which has the most advanced little microchip technology that I'll never understand. This is simple. This is simple. I understand it. I can adjust it. It's just, it doesn't need a battery. It's just cool as hell. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.